Hello, everybody, and welcome to Steakdorra the Explorers review REL 1 and 3A. This is week 3, or previewing week 3, reviewing week 2, whatever your preference is. We're going to be watching a game from 3A, because we watched one from 1 last week. We wanted to watch the Vampire Kislev one, as we saw that as an option last week when we were doing previews, and then we looked at the result and decided that was not worth watching, and you'll see when we get there. So we picked something else. And what we have picked is, once again, entirely down to whimsy, and our whimsy led us in the direction of Callistimai and Negatron, watching some Necro versus Chaos. So that's what we're going to check out today. We'll watch that, then we'll review results, and then we'll predict next week, and then we'll wrap things up. So welcome along. Shall we get started?
Yeah, boy. I can't wait to dice Soul into the ground again.
That sounds fun.
He gets really sour.
I'm not gonna watch that match, Hindi.
Yeah, we're not going to watch you 5-1 someone, thanks.
I wasn't gonna spoil it, but yeah, that's what happened.
It's a week old and we're going to spoil it in like an hour.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, this is what happens when nobody tells us what match we should watch. We pick one mostly arbitrarily, based on about 15 seconds of discussion. We literally picked it right before we started the stream. So if you want something different,
the takeaway from this is that it's
one.
Your fault we have to watch Callisti play.
Yes.
He's not even here. We're streaming at a really weird hour, so I'm not surprised.
No, that's fair. Do you want to start?
Fuck yeah.
3, 2, 1, go!
Wow, alright.
Yeah.
Now you're ahead.
I know. We'll catch up. That was on purpose. We have Cheney and a Wizard and a Babe as our options here.
I do remember discussing Cheney as the likely thing.
Yeah, Cheney is a bit weird, like catch, but really the thing is he is, a werewolf, so he's Claw Frenzy and Strength 4. That's
Hindi, you know it's a replay, so there are no Callisti pauses, right? The game can't be longer than like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I see.
Right away, we're separating the flesh golems, which is...
I think we're going to bring them in when we block, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, are we going to block with the flesh golems or with the zombies?
With the flesh golems. I think you follow up after you block.
But then they're still not terribly close, and they're likely... Do you just target them with the Claw Mighty Blow, like, immediately after as Chaos?
They're a bit risky because, Stand Firm is a skill, but, yeah, I mean, if you get a shot at a flesh golem, you take it.
We're going to start with covering off the ball a little bit. I like the flesh golem animation. Just sort of like celebrate their way through the block with both raised arms. And we can move the zombies forward to sort of protect them a little bit.
This did really limit our Claw Mighty Blow and Mighty Blow hits, though, I gotta say.
Yeah.
So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna blitz. We're gonna use the Mighty Blow White to blitz the block guard Beastman, yeah, to protect the wolf a little bit.
Button Moon is stunned, but that's just a guard player, so it's not going to do that much. Yeah, it's going to be... It's not trivial to get a block on like something important, but it's also not very hard. If we want to commit to the left side here, we can just go hit that flesh golem. It doesn't really...
I mean, that's the classic Necro problem, though.
Yeah.
So the one thing about hitting that flesh golem is it does take all of the movement to hit it.
Yeah. You could hit the one on the right, you just take away the assist from the zombie, and then just go hit him. Like, you can move the guard in, you're fine. We could also just try to hit that zombie, because it's a guard zombie, so that's not unvaluable. And we do get to push off one of our players from the potentially annoying...
Oh, it uses a reroll, though, to get a POW. That's an aggressive reroll use.
I mean, It's greedy probably, but it's given that we have fairly good reliability skills and we're on defense, it's not unreasonable to just sort of throw away your first reroll just on a straight greed block as a like Claw Mighty Blow team. It's a bit.
I don't
weird
think
to
I would
have
do
that.
it against it. I don't think I'd do it against a zombie, but
Yeah,
you know, I would have considered it on like a failed hit on a flesh golem. But
yeah, that's what I was gonna say next. Is it's not unsurprising to see a greed block, but it's a little bit surprising to see that greed used against the zombie because you can't really do another one, right? But if that was like a flesh golem or a white, I would have 100% rerolled it. I probably wouldn't have against the zombie.
this is a lot of basing. Oh, I guess they're gonna block the Chaos Warrior with the zombie. That makes sense.
Yeah, so we only have one base, and it's not against claw or anything, so at least it should be okay. Jump up. So speedy. Man, a jump up wolf is just, it's a bit of a nightmare, isn't it?
Zombie blitz. Not getting a lot of value out of this turn, to say the least. But
reasonable positioning though. Like, the ball is still safe. The Chaos don't have like the only Claw Mighty Blow hit the Chaos are going to get is the one blitz, which it's impossible to defend against anyway, given that your opponent gets a blitz because that's how Blood Bowl works.
yeah. So the thing about this zombie basing here is that it does just let him hold up the flesh golem. Ooh, dub skull. Suddenly, Callisti's down to one reroll on turn 2.
Yeah, that's a bit more of a. Well, okay, one, even if it wasn't a dub skull, that is the type of thing that you'd probably want to greed reroll, given that it's a flesh golem and he's niggled. So like that would 100% have been a greed roll if we didn't greed reroll.
No, gets a
earlier.
Paladin
It was a
Blogger
dub
though, which is
skull.
nice. But armor 8 holds.
Well, he got stunned. Well, that's armor 9, I suppose. The armor 8 white holds. Continue to protect the claw player because we really do not want them blitzed by the claw in return from the werewolves. And we just try to remove what we can and back up a little bit. It's fairly standard. We do have more guard and strength than the Necro. So you definitely would see some Chaos players doing the sort of Orc Dwarf like bullying thing where they slam all that guard in there and be like, enjoy trying to get blocks on this.
I think I forgot to close my bathroom and the washing machine is going nuts.
I don't hear it. A lot of failed blocks so far. We're on turn 3, and we have seen 3 rerolls for blocks so far between the two teams.
I would not foul. I would not be doing a lot of fouling as the Chaos. You do have a huge bench, but I mean, fouling an armor 9
He's
thick
niggled.
skull regen piece feels real bad, though.
He's niggled.
He is.
You know, I don't think I would either, but I'm just trying to justify it. Now we're gonna get, now that the basing has sort of started, we're gonna see a lot more of the moving the guard players in because it's already sort of been engaged. We can't really disengage from it, so we might as well get as much out of it as we can. Going after the sort of exposed white makes a bit of sense. He's Lodge, but we do have
Hey,
so
Callisti Maya has no rerolls on turn 3.
that's a thing.
That is a thing. I don't think I would have rerolled that. I don't think you needed to, and I think it puts him in a pretty bad position here.
To not have any.
Yeah. That's the hot take you came here for, right?
Yeah, having no.
Oh, and then he
is
won in
bad.
9. Jesus. Oof.
Hot take.
Yeah,
no
not-
rerolls are bad.
Yeah, hot take.
Can the wolf get anything done?
I mean, the random zombie did.
So far, we're just kind of stunning each other. We got one removal.
Yeah.
But from a team with a Claw Mighty Blow piling on Werewolf and like 2 Claw Mighty Blow Beastmen, we're seeing a surprisingly little amount of murder so far. We are only on turn 4. There's a long way to go. There's one. Do have a long way to go. There's another double skull. We have now... There were 7 rerolls 3 turns ago. There are now 2, and every single one of those rerolls has been used on a block. Every single one of them. Between the 2 teams.
Yeah.
That
Not a
feels-
great set of turns for these 2 coaches. A little worse for Callisti, but
feels
he also
not
greed
good.
in a bit more. So yeah.
The blockless ghoul blitz, but it is like the last turn, or one of the last actions we do besides the 1 dice. That's also a skull. Oh my god.
Nice. I love games where teams fail at each other.
It's great. Well, goodbye, Cheney. Enjoy.
Yeah.
You had a good life as a puppo in a trench coat. I don't think that life.
Rando AV9 break there.
Calamity Blow and the niggled flesh golem. He's fine. He's being like a real good sponge over there. Just every time he stands up, he gets blitzed by the Calamity Blow and he falls over again, but he won't go away. Good job, flesh golem. What's your name? Gordon Ramsay.
It's like the classic flesh golem thing, right? You either absorb 10 dice in a turn or...
There he goes. I mean, he got better. But, you know, he's gone for now.
Yeah, regen star players are pretty good, it turns out.
Yeah. Regen in general is generally pretty good, but you're right, because you can have Cheney on teams that don't, like, have Appos and stuff, too. You can afford to not use Appos on things. Cheney's just a good star player. I mean, he's one of the very few star players that is just good. Like, a lot of them are pretty...
Like Cheney... I mean, like, he's got catch, which is his only weird thing, and it's not even that weird.
There's a lot of star players that have many more weird things. Or, like, there's a lot of star players that are still good that have weird things, and it's just because of, like, the base player or the stat line they are or whatever. Right? Like, Borak is pretty good. He has Dirty Player, which is weird. But he's also just a Strength 5 block guy, which is pretty good. If you need that strength. There is an injury. You know, Slibley is good. Cheney is good. Like, what's-his-face? Glart is good. And then pretty much all the rest of them are, like, very situational, depending on what you're trying to do. Or you need, like, a lot of money to justify getting. You know, Borak is good, but unless you're getting, like, 400k, he's probably not worth taking. Eldril is good. Eldril's really good.
Yeah, Eldril, Slibley, Cheney, Borak. But, like, Borak's also really expensive.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's good, but only if you have a ton of money. There are very few star players that are, like, if that's the amount of money you have, it is worth to take them, like, as they're the only thing. And that's, like, Cheney, Eldril, Glart, and, like, Slibley, right? If you have whatever Slibley costs. If you had, like...
He costs 250k, something that every Lizard coach knows.
So if you have exactly 250k, you take Slibley. There's no debate between, like, do I take a wizard and a bribe or do I take Slibley? You just take Slibley, and there's, like, maybe 4-star players that's the right answer for, right? And all. I
mean, you might not take Slibley against an... No, I mean, I think you always take Slibley, yeah. Because, like, against elves, the wizard isn't as good.
And then it's probably a similar thing for Cheney, like, Glart. You know, if you have the amount of that star player it's probably at least a strong contender for your inducement usage. Whereas, like, you know, Dolfar is good, Borak is good, but if you have that amount of money, there's probably other things you want, and you need more to justify getting them as well. And then there's just, like, bad players, like Earlice or Lude, Whiparm, or Tentacle, or whatever his name is.
He's great, alright? He's the rotter with a lot of weird mutations.
He's like a rotter with sure hands and tentacles. Like, he's sure hands, but at that point, if you don't have a Pestigore with sure hands, you would just induce one if you really needed that, or a rotter with one, rather than a more expensive star player with tentacles on strength 3 as well. It's very strange.
He's a weird piece, yeah.
There's that new one that's probably pretty good. He's got, like, monstrous mouth or whatever, which is like a weird sure hands catch combination thing for Nurgle in the new rule set, which might actually not be bad, but I haven't really looked because I don't really care very much about the new rule set.
I mean, that's fair.
There's a new skill called like Monstrous Mouth or something that would kind of accomplish that. We got like a kind of weird sideline screen going on, but it's good enough for now. The Chaos can't really get into it.
They do need to make some progress this turn, though.
They do. They have to be in.
Oh, that was a red die. Spicy.
They have to be.
Why not dodge out with the Claw Mighty Blow to like screen off?
I think he hit the ghoul, didn't he?
No, I'm sorry, the one that just got knocked to the ground.
Oh, that's a good question. Because right now we're going to block that. Wow, we're gonna get a KO on him too. Then we're gonna move forward. Can we move forward? Was that his whole movement? It was, wasn't it? Yeah. But we can.
You just knocked out the only tackle, so you can just trust and blodge a little bit here.
Yeah, and you also have. Okay. I was gonna say you could just sort of hide behind the screen that you've made, right? Oh, I guess this works too. I was gonna say you could have the white on the back end, and then hide behind the screen you've made and be in scoring range, and then you don't have to roll GFIs. But then you do have the potential corner dodge thing. Now we screen off the front and just move so far away that we can't get through the back, get around with enough movement. We're pretty safe. It did involve GFIs though, which can sometimes be scary, but we had a reroll, so probably fine. Do we have any way of hitting the ball? No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, we were out of even GFI range for anybody relevant. And there's the skull. If only we had a reroll. Not that it really mattered. I think we've given up on stopping the score at this point.
Does have that vibe, doesn't it?
Well, given we didn't do anything about it and we blitzed someone else, yeah. It's a pretty good vibe to have. So the Necro score, they get injuries, they don't take any injuries, and they haven't used the Wizard. So that looks pretty good for the Necro right now.
Oh yeah, very good.
Pretty damn good.
Not bad.
As the kids say. Oh, well, we killed Monkey Funster. That's probably an Appo. He's not dead.
He got better.
Punch. Man, these Necro are just going to town on the Chaos right now. I mean, I know there's a Claw Mighty Blow Wolf, but this is not really what you'd expect.
No, I mean, this is...
Although it's very reminiscent of, like, the Chaos versus Chaos or the Nurgle versus Chaos match where, like, whoever's on offense just beats up the other team and scores, and you see the exact opposite thing happen in the other half. So let's see if the Chaos can get those KOs back and then do the same thing to the Necro in the second half. But the Necro will have a Wizard, so the Wizard plus 2 Werewolves. Even if the Chaos do score and beat up the Necro, the actual win for the Chaos is going to be hard, but a tie is strongly in sight. But given that Wizard, I think a win is going to be pretty difficult for the Chaos to pull out here. We do get to crunch up some zombies though. And if we can get a couple removals here, we go through the bench of the Necro. Although I think we're going to have to go through all 3 zombies if we want to force the Necro to put anything other than a zombie on the LOS, which is pretty unlikely. But we could go through their whole bench. Two Claw Mighty Blow hits. Not unreasonable to get like 2 removals here out of the 3.
Yeah,
with a little bit of luck.
I mean, Claw Mighty Blow removal is 25% if it's a knockdown. Or no, yeah, so that's a knockdown. But then there's also regen, which makes that less likely.
Yeah, and we'll then tack on another 50% to that, so 12.5.
Well, it's not a 50% chance to cause a Kaz, so.
Yeah, that's true, but roughly. If we assume it's a 25% chance to, so it's going to be slightly worse than 12.5, I guess, because of the KO. But then better, because the KO doesn't...
No, better, because it's more likely to KO than... Anyway, it's complicated.
It is. Well, yeah, either you're more likely to KO, then the KO could come back.
Oh, wait, no, but they're both 50-50s, I guess. So, yeah. It is 12.5% to, like, have them back next next round or whatever.
Yeah, but there's also the KOs make it weird, but it's let's call it 12.5% for the purposes of arguing. I tried to say argument and arguing and came up with arguing. Oh, we can try again. It wasn't a claw hit though. This is gonna be one though. Nope. Oh, yes. It just got better. There's the 12.5. We got the removal, but regen does its thing. We're 2 for 2 on regen so far, which is certainly not bad. Unlike my early streak in clan, where it went 0 for 10.
Nice.
That was fun. My first 2 clan games went 0 for 10 on regens. Well, there you go. That one didn't get better. Dead again.
Yeah, not playing nice, these teams.
No, that could have been much worse for the Necro. All in all, they scored. They lost 1 zombie, and they didn't use their wizard. And they got a number, like 2 removals. One of them is actually even an important one on the Chaos Warrior. So, hard to complain about that half for them. But now we get another set of 3 LOS blocks and another chance to get those KOs back, which we do. So the big bench coming into play here, we're gonna have a full team, but so the Necro. So
yeah, it's gonna be all about causing some damage early on that lets you get a shot at the tie or maybe the win.
Yeah, I mean,
even stuns is tough against Necro because they're so slow usually. But
yeah, it's going to be really hard to pull a win out of this with the wizard still available unless your dice catch fire right now. But a tie, I think, with good play is pretty reasonable to expect here out of Clistimaya. But you never know with a wizard and 2 werewolves. Just got to be careful. And it shouldn't be too unreasonable to expect a tie here. Quick snap. Not that it really matters.
not terrible if you're going for the quick score, but I don't think the Chaos would.
No, I mean, we can move some players forward and we can make it so that our blocks are a bit easier because we're moving in players up to the LOS without having to worry about...
Elected to try... Oh, no, isn't going to try to catch it on me.
No, he just wanted to surround the ball because I think he wanted to pick it up with... Oh, giving it to the claw guy. He's just aiming straight for the development here. Early in the season... Oh, another double skull! Good God. Early in the season, just aiming for development, even though if it might be easier to score on the Agi player.
He's got to take up some space here, or he's gonna be in trouble next turn.
I mean, we're giving up...
Why would you push him there?
I'm confused by that. Like, we're giving up a claw hit on the LOS, which is potentially 2 SPP, for making that player a target, putting our ball in a weirder position for the chance at 3 SPP. Like, that just
I mean, if
to
this
me.
player's going to get bolted, maybe he thinks that this player is not that important.
Maybe that could be a factor.
Oh, isn't blitzing the based cage? Instead, goes after this stand firm piece. Seems a little risky.
Yeah, so we're going to move the ball carrier back, which is safe. Yeah, the argument, I guess, is definitely the lightning bolt thing that you may be concerned about. But if your goal is like development here, giving it to him is, I think, weird because.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you wanted to put it on a player you didn't care about, you'd give it to just the wrestle Lino or some shit like.
Yeah, because you just gave up.
Or just the block Lino. You can if the block Lino is better at carrying it than the other guy is.
You just gave up a Claw Mighty Blow hit for like the wizard protection / maybe scoring on him. It just feels really awkward to me.
Coming in for a claw hit on the warrior. Is that a frenzy trap?
No.
Oh, because the ghoul still assist. Yeah. Never mind.
Yep, and we just push the warrior out of the way, which will allow us to then hit the other player, even with piling on with the wolf. So it's a nice little way to get an extra block in there. 2 stuns, so it paid off.
Yeah, not the kind of things you want to be taking on offense, for sure.
Not at all. Especially a stun or claw mighty blow guy, who you really want to be blitzing like every turn. Because your other claw mighty blow guy has the ball for some reason. Now we're going to get somebody off the based cage, even though it's not even remotely a cage anymore. I like the drop kick animation.
Strength,
fun.
Strength getting the armor bust there.
Yeah, plus strength makes them better at hurting stuff. It's a fact. They're strong.
It also makes their armor more fragile.
Yep, I know that for sure. Yeah, you know, they're just taking armor off of their, like, you know, body and strapping it to their fists so they can punch better.
This makes sense.
Well, we got another zombie out.
Yeah, another regen. It doesn't matter for this drive.
Yeah, well, that is the... We're evening, like, we're going ahead a player, which is a thing, right? And even though it's just a zombie, that's one less zombie that can either foul or be in the way of a more important player that we could then blitz with Claw Mighty Blow. You know, take out a white or a werewolf or something. Harder to protect them with no zombies.
Would you like to hear a funny and very typical Nova Scotian story while we watch this? So I was like thinking of things to give my mom for her birthday, which is next week, and I was like looking up living bouquets, and then I found this place that does like flower presses on like handmade paper. It's very cute. It's the sort of shit my mom would eat up.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And so I was like, okay, well, that's not a living bouquet at all. It's kind of the opposite, but this is cute, and like she will enjoy it. And then like I talked to my brother, and we ordered one, whatever. It turns out, as I got the confirmation email and like kind of recognized the name of the person, that it was someone that we went to high school with. It was someone my brother had graduated with, and like
really?
like had hung out at my place a couple of times, and who I knew as like a teenager. It was just really funny.
Small, yeah, that makes sense. You know,
like I looked him up on Facebook, and it was like, you have 16 mutual friends, and I was like, Nova Scotia.
Yeah, who's your father? Like, oh my god, I still get like it's from particular generations, like, you know, our parents' age, type people.
Yeah,
I get who grew up in Nova Scotia. I get who was your you're this, like you're this last name. Who was your grandfather? This one or this one? Right? Because like everybody, my grandfather was an identical twin, and the two of them were both dentists, and they were like, you know, really, really popular dentists in the area of the city that we live in. So almost everybody of like our parents' age, like in the right area of the city, like had one of them as their dentist, and they'd be like, oh, you know, your Earl was your grandfather? Well, Carl was my dentist, right? Like, it's so funny.
Yeah, that's really weird. The fact that they both chose to be dentists is interesting.
I still go to the dental practice that like is run by their like students, like the people that they hired to work under them, like near the end of their sort of career. There's a picture of them on the wall, and it's really funny to see it. Like, you know, the two identical twins in like 50s dentist gear is very weird.
I mean, I'm not related to Ben.
No,
none in my family are dentists.
Who is the would it be somebody that I knew from high school? I mean, I probably not, to be fair, because I don't know most of the people that graduated with us, let alone a year or two behind us.
I don't know if I want to dox her on stream, but
yeah, that's fair. Just message me later or something, because I'm just interested to know. I'll be very surprised if I do, because I'll see people that like pop up like mutual friends with a ton of people. It's like, yeah, we graduated with them. Like, did I? I don't know who this person is. Okay.
Oh, Callisti dub skulls again.
Yeah, I have no idea who that is. Not a clue.
She's like my brother's age, so like 2.5 years younger than we are.
Oh, so there's a cheating again.
Yeah, well, there was a chain push last turn to push a flesh golem onto the ball, which was cute, and it got the ball down. Considering the Apo here... Oh, no, there is no Apo. Never mind, this is Necro. You were just staring at it.
Yeah, I was checking the person to see if I knew them. They are mutual friends with my brother, so there you go. Apparently.
Yeah, so nothing makes sense.
Yeah. There you go.
So yeah, Nova Scotia is just one big small town, basically.
Tiny little place.
And like this story is cute, but like the kind of the ramifications of living in a place like this is that you can't ever escape anyone. So like, you know, that person you hooked up with at one time in college, you will see them like walking down the street for the rest of your goddamn life.
You see, you don't have this problem if you're like me and just don't interact with other humans ever.
I agree, but I don't share your utter disinterest in humanity. I'm kind of just more sour about it, but, you know, I still do it anyway.
That's fair. This is such a weird brick. Like, we've sort of glossed over all the strange chain pushes that have just occurred, and now we have a square of Chaos players and a line of Necro players, and this is just a very interesting formation. I really want to see that, like, brick of 6 Chaos just fireballed, please.
I want to see just the brick itself. Like, get all of them, you know?
Yeah.
Let the fire god sort it out.
I hope we're going to spread out our team a little bit, because that is fireball bait if I have ever seen it.
Yeah, but I don't know if Negatron likes to meme.
Oh,
does he like to party?
Speaking of memes, the Imperium Cup just got announced, so you can go sign up for that, and I have my team started, which is 11 big guys in Yob.
Hey, Callisti has no rerolls. Name a more iconic duo.
So, like a millionth skull for this game. Yep, there you go. That makes sense.
Yeah, these two have failed aggressively. They've gone through so many rerolls in 13 turns.
Yeah,
one
and they've all been on blocks. We've gone through like 13 rerolls, 12 rerolls, and every single one of them has been on a block. Every one of them.
So if we're being serious, the fireball is basically never the right answer, and I reminded myself of that in my game versus Mongoose, where I decided to kind of greedily fireball him and then rolled 12 non-POWs on his blodge ball carrier.
There are very, very, very few instances where fireball is right. One of them is if I knock down any single one of these players in this like group of 5, I have a hit on the ball. It doesn't matter which one, as long as it's one of them. Like there's 4 stunties with armor 7 in a square, and then it's actually worth it, like mathematically, to attrition fireball. But if it's anything other than that, it's really hard to justify.
Chaos have been pretty good at removing Necro.
Yeah, they've caught up. I think this is. Did I not say that right before we started this half? Is that whoever's on offense just sort of removes the other team? That happened for the Necro, and now it's happening for the Chaos. Yeah, like the attrition fireball is never the good choice. We just are going to scream about it because it's funny, and I want to see funny things happen.
Yep.
Yeah, that's sort of what I was getting at, Dung. Is like, if there's it's almost never worth it to attrition fireball unless they're like armor 7 stunties, and sometimes the like positional fireball, for lack of a better word, can be worthwhile if there's like 3 or 4 players where if a knockdown on any single one of them gets you something, right? But it has to be that sort of case where if you can knock down any single one of them, it's worth it for you. It can't be like a specific player, because then if you might as well just lightning bolt, right? But there are some like, you know, weird cases where like, you know, you have a sort of screen, like a 3-dimensional screen rather than like a line like around the ball or something like that, and if you can get like one of them down, you can go in and get it.
I mean, so like one thing that's worth noting, I guess, in the case of an attrition fireball here, it's possible that this might have, like, there was a turn before where a fireball was the correct choice simply because you didn't need removals to win the game. Like, even knocking down a couple of players and maybe even stunning them would have probably earned you a win. So, something to consider, I guess.
It's always a hard debate. Like, is this good to do or not? And like 85% of the time the answer is no. But like 85% of the time I'll do it anyway because fireballs are funny.
Yeah, that's fair. Fireballs are really funny. Hey, there's a pass, no reroll needed.
And then we got a skull that we had to reroll. So theme continues.
Well, couldn't reroll, but yes.
There's the lightning bolt. And now we can go get it with the ghoul, if we would like, which it looks like we're doing. We can't really get it away, though, is the problem. It'd be nice if you could, like, do the sort of classic Necro thing here where you get the ball. Oh, never mind. We failed sure hands. That's really dangerous. This is really scary. So we can just blitz. Like, we're going to have to dodge, but it's a 2+ dodge because he's a Agi 2. Or Agi 4. And we can, like, wrestle tackle the ghoul. But he's also probably the player you want to recover the ball with, given that he's Agi, so you can't really afford to use the wrestle.
Well, this is turn 16, he's got to score.
He can't, can he? No. So it doesn't matter.
That doesn't matter. So, I understand your thinking here, but,
I
game's over.
Didn't notice turn 16. I was talking about pressed flowers or something. Yeah, I forgot about the turn. You didn't need the pickup there at all. Yeah, right. Given that it was 1-0, it was your defense, and that the chaos hadn't moved very far forward, I think Shadorra may be right there in that, like, a fireball, even if it just knocked down a couple players, you're basically trading your wizard for their turn, for lack of a better word. If you knock down a couple guys, even if you don't armor break them or whatever, they have to stand them up. They don't have anywhere to go. They kind of just lose a turn, of useful movement, and that is potentially worth it to just stop them from scoring if you're trying to win 1-0.
I love that the whites just flex people to death.
Just fall over. Yeah, it's great.
All right, I'm getting into Div 1.
All right, that's fair. There you go, 1-0 to the Cathartic Carnivores. A lot of armor breaks. Didn't really feel like that because a lot of it, like the Chaos did a lot of work in the second half, but the first half, the Necro did.
Well, pylon is the thing too, remember? It's exactly. A twofer.
Yep. And, yeah, there you go, 1-0.
I'm going to open my door again now that the washing machine has stopped.
Well, I'm going to drop out of Blood Bowl so that we can look at REBBL.net because that is a bit easier. And we'll go to... Do you want to start in Div 1 or Div... Oh, you've gone already. I'll wait for him to come back. I was going to say, do you want to start in Div 1 or Div 3, given that we just watched a Div 3 game? But I'll wait for him to come back and then talk about it.
I am back.
Do you want to do Div 1 or Div 3, given that we just watched a 3 game?
We usually just go back to Div 1. I think keeping the order makes sense. Like flip-flopping. Like, consistency is more important if people are flipping through your video.
That's very true. Nobody does, for what it's worth. I've there's probably have been less hours watched of the YouTube versions of these than I have put into making them. So, probably not worth it. But whatever. It's the routine now. I have to do it. Otherwise, it'll bother me.
You are a strange creature, Ben.
Correct. Voltrex Vanguard versus the Deadbeat X's. Ramaset and Elsad. Oh, that's predicting. I'm dumb.
Finns and Elsad.
There we go. That's what I'm looking at.
It's a 1-1 tie. I saw this. This is Finn's first tie in like 30 games with this team. Like, if you go to the record on the team, it's something crazy. I saw this. It was very close to not being a tie, and then
it's literally his first tie ever on this team.
Yes,
it has never tied before.
More than 30 games. Yes. It was an interesting one. I watched a bit of it.
I did not.
Finn's did a lot of things he does where he goes, "Oh, come on, game."
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I think he does that every time he plays, though.
Yeah, there's just more of it this game than usual. So,
yeah, there's a lot of streamers that have a version of that.
Yes. I've always said I watch a lot of Purge, even though I don't play Dota. And he's just very chill, and I really like the. Sometimes he just does something. He's like, "Get the fuck out of my game," and I find that to be a great thing to
Purge,
mutter into your mic.
Yeah, that's
Get the fuck out of my
game. Yeah, that's fun. I like Purge a lot.
Anyway, yeah, he's a cool dude. 2 level ups on a rookie gutter runner and a Lino. Lino level is really nice, especially because the dirty player just ate an Agi bust. You could take kick. You probably take kick.
He hasn't taken a level on them, so we don't know what.
You could be tempted to replace the dirty player, an Agi busted dirty player. I had one. They're not great. You often have to make line rat dodges, it turns out.
Yep, because the rest of your team is just running away, and the line rats don't want to sit there and get beaten to death.
Who is diced? Are we just saying diced?
I think we are.
Is Finny diced? We can click on this weird tool that measures variance in really strange ways.
I refuse to indulge that tool with my eyeballs. Yes, so the 11 armor breaks on both sides, a couple Kaz, it looks like it was just KOs the other way, 2 KOs, 3 Kaz suffered versus 2 KOs, 1 Kaz. Not terribly surprising for armor 8 versus armor 7. They won 1, which is just really interesting given that like nobody important got sent off. Like
it was quite close to Finn's 2-1ing it, and then he either snaked or rolled a 1 at a really inopportune moment.
Yeah, that's probably fair. I was gonna like elves versus rats where nobody really important dies feels very much like the type of necro versus rats where nobody important dies is 1 weird because the necro could probably kill rats, but 2 like you'd expect the rats to win like 3-2 or something like that, or like the necro to win like 2-1 or 2-0 if they've killed rats. Like a 1-1 tie just seems like a weird result to me.
Yep. There's another one of those coming up from my game. Spoilers. It's next.
1-1.
This is a weird game. I thought I was pretty doomed in the first half because, as mentioned, I threw a fireball when I shouldn't have. I was also playing really hungover and I was playing like a moron. But anyway, threw a fireball when I shouldn't have. Then rolled 12 dice on his ball and didn't get a knockdown. And then he had a turn where he just removed like 4 players, and I was like, okay, well, that's that, I guess.
Guess we're done.
Yeah, it turns out that was basically all of his removals for the game, which made it kind of like even above average in the end. Or like my like injuries were better than they should have been, but taking them all on turn like 6 can make things kind of rough. The large potato chorf was a hero, and then he was trying to. I did some weird shit and managed to score fairly early in the second half. And then he tried to 3 or 4 turns, something in that ballpark, and he snaked a GFI, which left me a 2+ pickup, 2+ pass, 3+ catch, 2+ GFI from scoring on turn 15 or 16, and I 1-9 to the catch. So
makes sense.
That was it. And then he was like, "Oh well, there you go, you win now." I'm like, "Oh, you sweet summer child. That's not how this is gonna work." And then.
I was playing Imperium the other day, and I literally had I had the ball 1 square away from the end zone on turn 16 with an Agi 4 Brett Blitzer. Like, so literally all I needed to do was 1 2+ dodge to win. My opponent was like, "Well, GG." I'm like, "Nope, I'm going to roll the 1. I'm telling you right now." And I did. Like, tied the game because I just rolled a 1. It was a couple of days ago. Hackflem is an interesting choice.
Well, it was because I had. It's funny because I at one point I had to blitz the Blodge ball carrier with Hackflem, which was a 2-die because Hackflem is strength 3. But statistically, it would have been better to stab if I had Skitter. The reason I did it is because I already had 2 babes, and I had 50k left over if I took Skitter, so I just blew the extra 50k on Hackflem because strength 3. That's nice.
Yeah,
it just didn't really work out.
Yeah, I was gonna say because they're both gutter runners with mostly skills that you don't care about, but Skitter's cheaper. But yeah, there you go. If you just didn't have anything to do with money, that explains that. All right. Well, ordinary elves versus not for science. 5-2.
So I kind of wish we had just broken with tradition immediately and watched this game because this game looks wild. But also, we turned down a 5-1 Vampire versus Kislev game, so it probably would have been a bit of a snub.
Yeah.
But yeah, the div is currently being led by 2 half teams, so everyone should be embarrassed, including myself.
I mean, this is quite literally 5 elves versus 4 elves.
Yeah.
Or 6 elves versus 4 elves.
They've got a bench. Apparently, they don't have a bench between them.
And so that made it, like, we were talking about this, and it was like, yeah, so normally, like, Holing gets a bunch of inducements in his games, and, you know, he gets a wizard and Eldril and all that kind of stuff. And this game, he got, like, nothing, because these two teams were dead even with each other. So it was just, like, 3 elves versus 4 elves, and a whole bunch of loners, and then one of them won 5-2. But I think that's not
set up on the LOS, like 7 times, and they only had between them, like, 60 blocks. I don't understand.
I like how you say 5 loners, oof, and then I scroll down and there's 7 loners.
Yeah.
Like, that's much better.
My team was like half loner too, especially because I got 2 star players. I made 2 loner rolls, and I was like, oh, nice.
I think it's not terribly surprising that I think Holing won this, right? Like the War Dancer and the Catcher is just such like a ridiculous combination. Like the 3 elves he does have with skills can just win the game by themselves as long as the other elves are just in the way to stop them from dying.
5 passes.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have expected 5-2. I would have expected like 3-2 or something. But
I'm guessing that Fëanor did work. The strength up tackle War Dancer.
Yeah, I mean the catcher, the catcher got 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, but that's who's just for covering the ball, right? Someone had to drop it first, and I'm guessing that Fëanor is the one that put it on the ground.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Like Fëanor puts it on the ground, and then Ecthelon picks it up and leaves. And when we're on offense, we just hold the ball on Glorfindel, and there you go. Like those are the 3 elves that you have. So it's slightly better suited for that sort of like low elf play style than Not for Science, because Not for Science's team has just died. Not like
I forgot to talk about predictions. We predicted that Finns would beat Elsod, so no one was right there. I predicted that I would beat Mongoose. No one was right there because it was tie. So no point so far. I predicted Not for Science, and you predicted Holing, so you get a point there.
Boom. See, that's why I said I'm not surprised by that win. I'm surprised by the 5-1. They're 5-2 though. And then Practice Makes Permanent versus the Voltrex Vanguard is Dead Monkey.
You predicted Ramazet, and it's a fucking tie because every game this week was a goddamn tie.
Yep. Well, I mean, you know how you tie high elves with a lot of stats versus orcs.
You murderate them.
Yep. You just kill all the elves.
Well, if literally any player was going to take a movement bust on Ramazet's team outside of the linos, like if any positional was going to take it, I think he would have probably chosen the blodge tackle blitzer.
Yeah, it could have been worse, I guess.
Given how much Mighty Blow there is, yeah, I mean, it could have been a lot worse than this.
Suffered the orcs. Wait, what? Oh, I was reading the wrong line. I was like, wait, how did they suffer 5 KOs and 0 CAS? No, they suffered 5 KOs and 5 CAS.
Yeah, I mean, there was only 13 armor breaks because I assume, and only 28 blocks because very quickly I imagine the orcs ran out of elves to hit, or at least.
Yep, but the elves still scored at some point anyway. Whether that was because the elves went first and scored quickly, or because they just the orcs couldn't convert a second touchdown after they scored the first one because the CASs came like later. But you know,
I'm just loading up Dice or Not every single time for the lulls.
1-1. We removed all the elves. Well done to Ramazet for not losing that, having all your elves lost, frankly. But
Ramazet had 100th percentile dice.
Did he really? Yet somehow he tied the game while losing his entire team. It seems that dice log is wrong.
I knew it would make you so mad.
Oh, I hate that thing. Like, yep, I rolled 100th percentile dice. There's never been a game in history that had better dice than I did. But, oh man, I mean, he tied it, which is good for him. And that is how you like sort of win against a sort of high stat elf team, is just try to kill them as the orcs. And that certainly worked out well. Didn't convert it into a win, unfortunately, for Dead Monkey, but probably got a decent amount of SPP out of it, which is also pleasing. Got a level on our rando linemen. I don't think it's going to be anything exciting.
Holy shit.
Just wrestle.
You should load up the next game and see the removal of Barbecue Gamer's entire fucking team.
He didn't lose any of his Clawchorfs.
That is one way to look at this. He lost every single blocker to a Kaz and half the bulls.
Yeah. I mean, this was a deadly week to be in REL 1, apparently. Good God. Okay, well,
Really lost. Like, the games have been quite tame so far.
in Chorf versus Nurgle, there were 36 blocks apiece. The Nurgle suffered 7 KOs and 2 Kaz. That's a lot of KOs, you might say. And then you look at the Chorfs, who suffered 2 KOs and 8 Kaz.
Hold on, I gotta pull up the dice or not thing. I gotta know.
Oh God, please don't. Like, I'm gonna hate my life if you do that for every match for the next 12 weeks.
Barbecue Gamer had 93rd percentile.
Oh, did he?
Acropolis had 100th percentile dice.
Wow, two games in the same week where nobody ever had better dice? What are the chances of that? 0. Because it's 100th percentile. It literally means the best there has ever been, and there were 2 in the same day.
It makes Ben so mad. I love it.
I want to die. Oh God. Well, I mean, a lot of people are going to be pleased about the removal of these Chorfs. They're going to have a rough game this week.
I mean, they have 3 blockers and 1 bull.
Yep.
Suffered 3 fucking deaths.
Yeah,
they lost one of their dirty player hobgoblins. How are they going to carry on?
Well, they have 2 more. And like, they didn't lose their claws, so I guess people are going to be annoyed about that. But like, you can't be too annoyed about 2 dead Chorfs.
Pretty hosed.
Yeah, that sucks. I mean, the Nurgle lost only Rotters, and so who cares? So the fact that the Nurgle won this 2-1 is very unsurprising. We even leveled the Strength 6 Beast of Nurgle. Please tell me this is block. Oh yes, yes,
is it actually?
Yes. Yeah, the Beast of Nurgle is Strength 6 block. Absolutely rewarded for taking the Strength 6 on the double 6s. Yes. Yeah,
but it still doesn't have stand for. You can still a Strength 3 piece can red dye it. I guess it can't both down it anymore. But,
Don't care. It's a Strength 6 block Beast of Nurgle.
You are so enthused one way or another tonight.
Yeah, everything's happy. Let's go.
At least he's not stand firm yet.
Oh, no, I'm just in a good mood. I don't know why. I'm just in a better
mood
than
I don't want to bring you down, baby. Fed versus Legion, I said Fed would win, and it was a tie. So we really didn't have a lot of points to gain this week, and you've gained all of them so far.
I think I said Necro for this, didn't I?
You did, yes. Sorry, when I said I took Fed, the implication there was that you took Legion.
Oh, I see, yeah. Yeah, because Necro is generally one of those matches that's like a little bit harder for rats, just because they can keep up with you. And these werewolves in particular, tackle frenzy that can keep up with the gutter runners means like the sort of gutter runner potato. I know it's not really a potato, but you know what I mean. They're like, I'm just out of range of you. You can't reach me thing that gutter runners do.
Screens get a lot harder to manage when you have really high movement players. Like the reason, like I was able to pull off a bullshit screen versus Mongoose, but because Bull Centaurs are effectively movement 9, he was able to get around it. So like that's kind of where rats can struggle, is when they're kind of hastily constructed screens. Like elves can make very pretty screens that are very long and cover a lot of space. Rats just kind of have to like make do with what they can manage with Agi 3. So
rats, their big strength is movement, right? Like they're not Agi, they're just real fast. So anybody that can keep up with them, like even if it's not to the same level, but can keep up to run around those screens or to catch up with gutter runners, can cause them problems if they don't have anything else to do as well, like dodging to make screens or whatever. And wolves with tackle frenzy can certainly do that. And we saw this wolf get 2 Kaz even. Not too surprising there.
Yep, I don't need to click on Diced or not to know that Fed got diced because he didn't win. So we can.
I'm gonna click on it. I'm gonna click on it this time.
It's so bright. Burns.
Really Superfed had 88th percentile dice, so very clearly not diced.
They both had hot dice, but Feds were less hot, so he got diced.
I've never seen that tool say somebody didn't have hot dice, like literally ever. I've never seen it bad.
Percentile, but that's about it. Yeah.
Okay, so 1-1. That they're 2-2. Sorry, tie. Touchdowns came from the natural one turner and just like the gutter runner were trying to level. So there is the potential that this was in Toxio Terra's hands, and then the one turner saved it for the Skaven. I can't confirm that because I haven't watched the game, but that's certainly a possibility. There's a little tool in the corner that you can click on in these replays, and there's like a weird dice analysis thing that I think is dumb, but there's more importantly a cool little sprite replay of the game, so you can click on it and it'll play through the game's turns really quickly, like in sort of Fumble style with like the sprites and like a little flash window, which is really nice to get a quick view of like what happened in a game. If you're interested in it, I would just ignore everything about dice on the page, but you can like watch the replay and it's kind of interesting. Little project by Vengeful Pickle and Major Bite, I believe.
Pretty interesting game in Seoul versus Tech 19. Seoul picking up a 2-1 victory, but Tech 19, well, kind of a mixed bag for Tech 19. He leveled up his Mighty Blow Agi Wolf, which is great news, of course. We were talking about how much of a liability that thing is, but he took a movement bust on his Agi Up Ghoul, which I think is probably the end of that thing's career. You probably just replace it.
I would say so. He's on one level.
And you already have 2 Agi 4 pieces. I don't think you really need a third.
No.
You have 3 Agi 4 pieces.
Yeah, I mean that's the real benefit to the Ghoul is that it's like speedy.
He's got a strength up zombie.
Sweet.
Is it?
No.
I mean, I think that zombies are one of the pieces I would consider taking strength on as a like you take it on like an orc lino probably. Though you probably just take guard because you can't really. It's a mixed bag. Depends on how bloated you want to be.
Another fun thing, if you weren't aware of it, Dung, is this button, the Bob and Jim in the corner. You can click on that and it'll download the replay of the game, and you can like put it in your game folder and then go watch it in Cabal Vision, even if it's expired from Cabal Vision, because they only keep games around in client for 2 weeks or for 1 week. I think it's 1 week. But
yeah, for 7 days.
But REBBL.net stores them, so if you want to actually like watch a game that happened like 3 seasons ago or whatever, you can go click on this, download it, and then like watch it in game, which is really cool.
Anyway, Elves beat Necro, which I think we both predicted. We predicted Soul would win this. Actually, I'm kind of surprised, but we did.
The Witch Elf leveled and took block, which is unsurprising given the other one had wrestle. The only thing surprising there would be if it was like a double or something or a stat. But if you roll a normal, that Witch Elf takes block. I don't think there's any other correct choice. Doubles or stats are a different question. It does download the replay if you watch the replay. If you just watch it in Cabal Vision before it goes away, it'll download it for you. So if you really want to, you can go into the game, into client, and like hit watch replay and then back out, watch replay, back out, watch replay, back out of all the games, and it should download them so that you can then watch them again later. Maybe you have to watch it for a bit. I don't know, but I've definitely done that. Like if I knew there was a game that I wanted to recap, I've gone in and clicked on it to load up the replay and then just backed out so that I knew it would be there later. Okay. Well, now we can get into predictions, I suppose. So we've got Ramaset.
No one's played it. I'm shocked. We're a day late.
Yeah, that is
and a double short.
1630 High Elves, 1850 Necro. We're missing the Blitzer that got movement busted and a couple random lineouts. We have sort of the more important stat players. The Necro are fine. There's nothing wrong with the Necro. Really? There's like the Agi bust, but that's been around forever and it's just on a white, so who cares?
The real army event, but you earned 3 points in Div 1.
So I'm still negative though.
Oh yeah, you're -4.
Nice.
I'm negative. Wait, am I worse than you? Is that right?
We were very similar, and you didn't get any points there, so probably, or at least similar.
Oh no, I flipped it around. I was -7. You were -9. So you are now -6, and I am -6. We're tied.
That's fair. Necro generally pretty good against like elves. We've got a high movement ghoul. We've got a strength 5 flesh golem, which is fun, but it's not super relevant. 2 wolves, including an edgy 4 wolf. Although these high elves, the strength movement catchers, movement 9, strength 4 is nuts.
And he does get a wizard, so it's going to be.
Yeah, I think the wizard and the stat players makes this. If those wolves are like more unfair, like the Agi 2 wolf, I think is going to be a bit of a liability actually. He has Mighty Blow, so you're going to want to blitz with him. But then if you don't get that knockdown, and which is likely given that you don't have tackle, you're going to have to dodge off afterwards or just leave him there to get hit, which is kind of awkward.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're not going to be targeting a lot of dodge players with him. That's not going to be the play. You try to remove Linos.
The NG4 Wolf is nice, and the 9 Ghoul is nice, but I feel like Wizard and that catcher plus the 2 NG5s can certainly get something done, even if it's just like a 2-1 because we turn the Wizard into a touchdown with the 2 NG5 players. I think that's probably a pretty likely outcome. But Necro are generally pretty good against Elves, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Necro won, but I'm going to take the Elves.
Yeah, it's an interesting game. Kind of want to take Elsod.
Okay.
Rama's going to be really mad at me, I think.
Yeah, is he ever not?
No, I mean we have solidarity when we get the shit kicked out of each other ourselves or whatever. And Elsod actually has a terrible record versus high elves. He's lost 2/3 of his games. How has Ramesset done against Necro? Pretty well, above 50% win rate. Fine, I'll take Rama.
These 2 high elf teams need to stop using the same icon. It's very confusing because we have Fellows Kuwatadal, Not for Science, versus Acropolis and his Nurgle with the Strength 6 block Nurgle Warrior now, Beast of Nurgle. So Fellows Kuwatadal gets 740,000 in inducements because this is a 2,300 Nurgle team. That's getting up there in one of the highest TVs we've seen.
2,300, yeah. I mean, that's like the granddaddies of L1 Nurgle.
Well, we've had like 2,350, I think, Nurgle before, and like FD's dwarfs were up there at some point, right? I'm just trying to think like ever, like the highest.
I mean, this is literally a full bench Nurgle team. Like the only reason it's not higher is because the Nurgle warrior David Wooderson is undeveloped.
Yeah, I think we've seen higher, but not very much. If anything,
I meant to talk to Acropolis to see what he's planning to do with that Pestigore, but I'm just gonna wait and see. Yeah, I don't think he hangs out in these. No, he's not here.
That's a lot of inducements for the high elves. The Agi Blitzer is pretty much what he's got going on. The strip ball, I don't think does anything.
The only thing you need to know about this is you navigate over to Fel with Kuwatadal's matches, and you scroll down the Nurgle, and you see that he actually isn't as good at Nurgle as I thought he was. But still pretty good. He wins. He has won or tied like 60% of more than 60% of his games.
61.1%.
Acropolis, on the other hand.
To be fair, he won a lot of those games when he had Tenare and like the other legends. He has not played them, I think, since he's lost most of them.
True. He definitely better though.
He definitely knows the matchup very, very well. He's played it a lot and he's won it a lot. So it is hard to predict against him there.
Amusingly, Acropolis has literally never lost to high elves. Has tied them more often than he's beat them.
That's Nurgle for you.
Yeah. I mean, Acropolis is also the draw thing. So, what do you think?
I mean, if this was not a ridiculous Nurgle team, I'd probably take Elves. I just feel like even with 700k of inducements, we're going to start to run out of things that are useful, and that's just a monstrous Nurgle team.
I think
Nurgle. Volcano and Talk Show Terror. Our name is Legion, and Mongoose is loose. 1830 versus 1860, so no inducements to be had.
Did I remove anything from Mongoose? I did. I MNG'd one of the claw blockers. That's right.
You did. So he's missing one blocker.
Someone will be happy. Oh, it was dead actually. It was like turn 1, and Finn got a blitz, and anytime that Finn hits something, it dies, or he does. That's really the vibe. So he killed that, and then it got better.
So he's missing one blocker, and he can't do anything about that, which is annoying because the Chorfs do sort of rely on having like that wall. Doesn't that mean he only has? Was he missing one anyway? How many blockers do Chorfs get?
Yes, because he had a dead rookie at some point recently.
Yeah, so now he has 4. He's only got 4 Chorfs.
Yeah, but he's got 3 guard hobgoblins, so he's not going to lack for guard at least.
No, but the like Mighty Blow werewolf, if he just removes like one Chorf with that, which is probably pretty likely over the course of the game, like suddenly the Chorfs just have so few players.
I will say this about Mongoose. He his like anti-elf play wasn't like anti-like adu shenanigans play wasn't outstanding, but his like protect the Chorf blocker play was quite good. He's quite good at the like the bash positioning, and he admitted his adu play wasn't great either. I'm not just shit talking him. So I think that like in this sort of a matchup that is going to be really all about not leaving key positionals exposed, I think he will do better than most Chorf coaches. But yeah, like what's the bench situation like for the?
That's what I was going to look at.
They both have benches, it looks like.
Bench of 3 zombies for.
There's only one bench for the Chorfs actually.
Yeah, I mean, I think
should favor the Necro pretty heavily.
I think it comes down to the bench and the regen, really. There are 2 claw players on the Chorf team, but like 2 claw mighty blows on zombies when we have the bench, and then those players, if they pile on, especially, we now have 1 Chorf blocker on his feet, is not a way to keep your Chorf blockers alive. So the piling on might even be hard. I think the Necro probably have an advantage here, but I would like it's gonna depend pretty strongly on whether Mongoose can get a removal or 2 early. So I think I will take the Necro. I'm gonna go with the Necro.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Necro as
well. Wait, what? Right, there's just 2 Necro teams. Tech 19, Monster Bash, and
there are 3 Necro teams.
Fins. There are 2 in a row, which is why I got confused because I thought I was doing the same match a second time. This is Rats and Necro. 1960 Necro, 1500 Rats because he's got too much money. So 400k for the Rats, which is pretty significant. Although these are Necro.
He's got the fucking Necro gauntlet, just utter hell.
Yeah, and these Necro are actually a bit more annoying against like elves, right? They've got the 2 Agi elves.
Just like a good amount of block mighty blow to just shred through line rats.
Yeah, and the wolf is 2 wolves that are Agi 4, so they can even dodge around screens. Speaking of that problem, if they need to.
Yeah, they're going to be pretty tough to deal with. He does have George Best, his excellent sacker.
There is no sure hands for the Necro, which is
and there's 2 strip ball for the Rats, so the odds of there's gonna be a wizard, there's gonna be Glart. Glart is really, really good versus Necro, obviously.
Yeah.
Juggernaut.
Juggernaut and claw and strength 4. Yeah, not bad. It's like perfectly designed to take on flesh golems.
Yeah, because stunning a flesh golem is often very similar to removing it versus fast teams, just because it's never going to catch up again. And even if it does get up again, it's going to probably be tagged by a rat. So,
it's hard to predict against Fins here, but like if you just said Necro versus Rats, I'd be like, Necro. But given the no sure hands and the lot of inducements, that's becoming pretty difficult.
Well, let me think about what Finn is going to get, because he's not going to.
Although Tech 19 has literally never lost to Skaven with these Necro.
That's funny. What's Finn's like versus Necro? It loads slowly, and I always click on something. Finn's is kind of an even record versus Necro.
Yeah, it's so many inducements, but my heart just says take Necro, so I'm going to.
Finn's will have like Glart and a Glart and a wizard probably. Do you even need a wizard? Do you ever not take a wizard? Probably not.
Is there ever a situation in which you don't take a wizard as Rats if you don't have 150k?
I'm gonna take. I'll take Fins.
How about you and Soul?
I mean, as evidenced by the fact that we planned this game at the start of the stream, I have not really looked at this, so let's do it now, and I'll tell you whether I think I can win this.
Okay, well, he has Strip Ball. He does have Sure Hands on an Agi 6 player.
I will have a wizard because I get 220k. Yeah.
So that's a wizard and like a 70, right? So how much is there's no relevant star player you can get for 70k, right? So like a babe, or you could get 2 if you scum it.
Yeah, probably just do a babe. I'm not scumming because I want to like build up my team again. I want to get a bench. So if I don't lose anything this game, I can probably start buying some wine rats, which would be nice. And I also am going to have to replace a blitzer at some point.
His witch elf is going to be a nightmare for you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more worried about
tackle strip ball frenzy.
The Dog of Thunder, honestly.
Yep.
The strip ball. I mean, it does have leap, so I mean, it's going to be more of a keeping the ball away from them thing. Yep. Like I'm going to probably play the long game. I'm not gonna like cage up and walk the ball forward. I'm rats. Like I don't give a shit about strip ball mostly. It means I can't trust in blodge ever, but I was never going to. Like a wrestle tackle frenzy would take that away almost as often. So like it doesn't. The strip ball I don't think is actually that relevant here.
No, I mean the player, like the wrestle tackle.
Scarlet Weasel will be a target for sure.
Dog of Thunder is good with the Mighty Blow
Tony
tackle.
Stark is a fucking nightmare, as I've experienced before.
Sure hands.
There's only one blodge. There's only two. Well, there's one blodge step and one rod step, so I'm happy about that. There's not going to be a lot of like. There's no like diving tackle. He's got a lot of guards, so like I might lose the bash game a little bit.
I think you definitely will lose the bash game.
Well, but also my removal potential is quite a bit higher.
Not if your armor 6 rat dies very quickly to a Mighty Blow.
Maybe for literally once I'll stop him from getting hit. Maybe just I'll break with the mold.
Maybe.
Yeah,
your gut. The gut runners are good.
I'm at least looking forward to.
Bimo is nice, but he has sure hands. But the wrestle strength is really what matters there, and then potentially being able to recover it afterwards. Like I feel like this is going to be very shootouty because neither of you are really safe from the other.
Yeah, and I'm better in a shootout than he is, but I think it's gonna come down to how many removals we sustain along the way.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Does he have a bench? I don't think he does. Right?
He does not.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have a babe, which will be nice. I think I've made a good shot. I don't think it's a great shot, but I don't think it's a bad shot either.
Then, for reasons of spite, I will take Soul to predict against you. And then we can have Superfed and Holing in another match where neither team has many players or inducements because they're.
This is the top of the div. This is 1 versus 2. We have to watch this game next week, right?
Unless it's like 7-0 or something. Yeah.
If Fed loses 7-0, I'm watching that all day.
That's fair. Or the other way around. I meant more the other way around, but
yeah. Well, I won't watch that one probably, but.
Yeah.
I don't need to watch Holing go through what I did,
Top of the div, like inducement rats and inducement wood elves, where neither team gets inducements.
Yeah, well, the thing here though
we're technically in Fed Stadium, and he is the underdog. So
I got 7K, and he's never gonna burn it.
Well,
I mean, he would totally burn it, but I don't think it's meaningful to do so here.
No, I mean he could get like Fez glitch for like 10K or whatever the hell it is, right? Because it's in his stadium. That cheap? No, he's like 60 or 70, but it's minus 50 because of his stadium, right?
I didn't realize he was still that. Like he's like 10, 20K. I thought he was a little bit more than that. But
he probably is, and I'm making that up. To be fair, I want to go check now, but I know isn't there one like really cheap star rat player? Am I thinking wrong? I'm probably thinking wrong. No, Fezglitch is 100K. Yeah, so he's still cheap, but like he's 50K after the stadium, which is not worth.
I don't think Fed blows his bank on Fezglitch, but no, maybe
I don't think so either. I definitely wouldn't.
So this is an interesting one because Fed's players are horrified of that War Dancer, of either War Dancer really, but in particular Feanor. Yeah. And all of the non-loners are going to be horrified of the 2 tackle palmers.
Yeah.
And they're going to have a shootout, but both teams are pretty good at a shootout. I mean, Fed's got a natural one-turner. Holing has a near natural one-turner.
Yep. And they're both going to try to play that way, I would imagine, given that neither of them are really going to have a way to keep the ball safe.
I mean, a shootout.
It's probably better for Fed has a really hard time keeping the ball safe from the War Dancer. Holing has a really hard time keeping his team alive versus the Blitzers. So they both are pretty motivated to score, I think, is the long and short.
Well, no, because every time you score, you give away two free Mighty Blow palm hits on the line, right?
Yeah, it's a weird balance, though, right? Because if you just sit there and let your loners die to a blitz every turn, that's also bad.
Too. He's got Matty O'Reilly, who he leveled in my game. I'm gonna very narrowly take Fed, I think, but it's really close.
That's what my instinct was too, just because the removal potential is big. The Wood Elves are still motivated to score, but perhaps slightly less, and then we can get some more removals. We have no way to deal with that because we don't have a bench or anything.
This next matchup is just unfair.
So yeah, I'll take Fed as well. Oh, so it's the Orcs against the Chorfs that don't have.
This is going to feel. I mean, he's replaced 2 blockers. Like he had enough cash to buy 2 rookie blockers, and he's still down like 400k. And also, it's just going to feel fucking bodied this game. Like
being down, like
not going to be a fun game to play.
In no uncertain terms, being down TV as Nurgle or Chorf or any other team that is like pretty removal gameplay planny sucks, and you will probably lose. Especially against Orcs that even if this team was full would probably have a hard time against because there's just so much guard and you're never going to get good blocks. That's even worse now when you have 2. Like, this is going to be a nightmare for everybody.
I mean, he basically needs St. Louis Ribs to pop off with that Dauntless Claw Bomb, and if he doesn't, like, game is over real fast.
You go on off if you can. You go on offense as the Chaos Dwarfs, and you bank hard on removing Orcs. And if it doesn't work, you lose. And if it does work, you have a chance. But like, oh man, that much guard on the Black Orcs and stuff is going to be such a problem to get through for those Chaos Dwarfs. This is going to be a really hard game for Barbecue Gamer. All right, I guess we should look at the standings. Why did my REBBL.net is now loading very slowly, if at all. Come on. There we go. Nope, it crashed. Maybe? I don't know what's going on. Let me refresh it. What is happening? Good. There we go. It just went really weird.
Acropolis is at the top with 2 wins and 3 TDD, followed by Seoul. So it isn't actually 1 versus 2; it's 3 versus 4. I forgot that.
It draws.
Fed and Bowling drawed this week. So my chance to knock Seoul off the top. I forget who's playing Acropolis. Oh, I can check. It's not for science. So I have voted for both of the people that can dethrone the people up top right now. So, but also it's week 2.
And it's week 2, so there's not a whole lot of difference. But
-5 can be down there.
Look at you.
Okay,
you at least have a point.
Doing things, Yeah. I almost won because Mongoose snaked, but I almost won.
All right, and then in 3A, we can go look at the results. REBBL.net is loading real slow for me. Like when I click on that, nothing is happening.
This might be a toughie.
Please don't make me open Blood Bowl again. Oh, come on. Doing this from the Blood Bowl 2 client sucks so bad.
Major Blight's asleep. His servers are crashing.
Oh.
I mean, if we're both experiencing the same thing, it's got to be the site.
Yep. That's is it fixed?
It loaded something. Not what I clicked on. Yeah, it's better. Quick, load all the things you need.
That's too many things. Okay, so we had the Beeftown Brawlers and Dance Monkeys. So it's the Dwarves and Kislev. We expected the Dwarfs to win this, I imagine, because the Kislev just don't have a whole lot right now.
We did. They did.
And we were right. I mean, we badly hurt all of the loners. Although the Tame Bear leveled, which is fun. What did he pick up? We don't know. He hasn't taken it yet. He already had guard.
Niggle on a Lino is a death for him, and 2 MNGs on positionals. So more loners next week.
Yep. The Dwarves took an MNG on a Blitzer, which is annoying, because Blitzers are important.
It's a good one. It's a Blodge firm guard piece. Very, probably his best Blitzer for
yeah, I mean,
the game.
The Dwarves removed 10 players and then won 2-1 because there weren't players to stop them. There you go.
Then we have Radioactive Frogs versus Lustrian Slayers. This is Dung versus
Mighty Blow.
Tyrendel, and we predicted the Rats would win, and they did. Look at us, earning points.
Hooray, points. Dead Line Rat, who cares? Armor Busted Line Rat, he is now dead. 2 badly hurt Line Rats.
The Claw Block Dauntless piece did not get any cast, so is therefore a waste of TV.
Blart got MNG'd, but once again, who cares? No important removals. So doing Skaven the right way, you take 5 Kaz and none of them matter is how you do Skaven.
Strength bust on a Blodge catch piece is probably a dead skink. He could be your 1-turner, but I don't think it's worth keeping around.
strength 1 block. It doesn't really matter if you have block when you're strength 1 because everybody 3 dies you.
Just 3 dies you, indeed. Took a badly hurt on a rookie source. Doesn't really matter. Croc's got MNG or MVP, but he's already perfect, so you don't really want him to level. Like at this point, he would take break tackle, and that would be fine. But he's pretty much perfect as is. So unless he rolls another double for dodge or
plus strength.
Okay, so what to take on a double at this point in a Croc's lifespan is like a really hotly contested thing. There's like people who are in the dodge camp, people who are in the tackle camp, people who are in the pro camp.
Yeah. It's similar with already a block beast, like a Beast of Nurgle with block, but with a Beast of Nurgle with block, I think the right answer is probably dodge a lot of the time.
There was some rookie who took a diving tackle Croxagore too.
Wow.
But I think he took it instead of block, which was objectively wrong. I don't like tackle. No, I'm a dodge man.
So am I, but that's because how I play with my like Beast of Nurgle is very often they're sitting there being annoying, and like they're not really doing anything. And then the dodge just makes them so much harder to shift. Like Lodge Stand Firm is, and then Foul Appearance is like a 40% chance to actually move them from the spot they're in, which is just super annoying to deal with if you mark them in good players. A little bit less so for Croxagore, so I can understand where the debate is for sure. But I'm probably in dodge camp.
I mean, I think that like Lodge Firm just fits really nicely with the Lizard game plan, which is be in the way and be in your face. So.
Yeah, well, Terrendal says he's thinking about tackle right now.
Yeah, he said that. Yeah, it's like
2-0.
Not really my but
for the rats. Not the biggest surprise if we don't remove any of the important rats. Like Dung looks like he did a good job of not having important players hit by the Saurus. And that's sort of how.
Yeah, I mean, he had the wizard, so he had the opportunity to take the ball away, and it looks like it worked out for him.
Yeah, wizard. The lizards having to carry on skinks kind of sucks against Skaven, and so unless you can like target the gutter runners or blitzers and do something to them, it's really hard to like win this. So it's not the biggest surprise in the world that the lizards didn't win this. I think it's a hard one for them. Then we had the game that we didn't watch because the vampires beat Kislev 5-1.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shit as I understand it.
Although this currently puts Hindi with vampires in first place, so like, are we gonna have a G-Man 1 wooden spoon situation here? Where
saved me from being
where the entire div wins wooden spoon because they let vampires win the division?
Do they get it because they let vampires win the division, or because they let Hindi win the division?
Both.
Yeah.
Can we have like a worse than wooden spoon, like a I don't know, dirt spoon or something? Yeah, we
missed the review of your removal of a Kislev team. Yes, we were pretty quick with it because it was like the dwarves did the thing we thought they would, which was they punched the Kislev until they ran out of players.
And 1-2-1, yeah. Dead lineman, who cares? 2 badly hurts don't really matter too much. 3 completed passes from that catcher is just a lot of like bonus SPP. That's a little bit surprising. The 1 touchdown came from the catcher.
He leveled one of his strength up pieces and got 3 touchdowns and another one, getting him 2 SP away. So Indy's team's going to be fucking horrifying soon.
What did that strength vampire get? Baron Von Orange?
Movement 7, strength 5, blodge. Good luck.
Well, one of the vampire's weaknesses is that they're slow. That one isn't anymore, and he's also strength 5. Like,
I had a movement vampire, but it was mostly just a disappointment.
Oh boy, I mean, only 2 badly hurts on thralls means the vampires didn't hurt themselves very frequently, plus we didn't hurt them, but we don't have much hurting potential as these Kislev. The vampires took, 4 KOs, 2 Kaz?
Yeah, I think it was mostly dice failure that Vomarin had messaged me about this, Vormarin rather, and I think he just failed everything. It was like kind of a cavalcade of failure.
Yeah, normally you hope the vampires beat themselves, but if you beat yourself by failing dice and stuff against vampires, things are extra bad. Wait, do we want to click on the diced or not thing and watch it say that they both had 100 percentile dice? Because
no.
I don't, and I'm not going to.
We didn't. And then we have My Stays versus Fall, and he did the thing. He beat elves again, and we told him he wouldn't. So I'm not going to be voting against My Stays anymore. I'm just cursing him for the rest
Yep. There you go. I mean, MyStays won. I mean, MyStays certainly knows how to play elves, right? From that point of view, he won.
I mean,
the Super Bowl.
he's been on the other side of the spectrum. Took 0 injuries. Didn't even really do that much damage to the elves. Maybe the elves. This looks like the sort of game where the elves failed something critical.
Yeah. Otherwise, you'd expect like 1 touchdown.
Yeah, or like more damage or something that would kind of lead to a turnover. Like this looks like maybe a snake somewhere along the way.
Yeah, that seems about right. Armor, but the only permanent was on a loner, so that's always nice. Kaz on a claw guy is good because we'd love to get him like guard or something. TD came on the ball carrier. Doesn't make too much of a difference there. A lot of players still pretty far away from leveling from MyStays' team here, but he's got a real solid core, like the 1 Killer Nurgle Warrior, 3 like guard pieces. That's he's got a really solid start to a Nurgle team here. Like I would trade my Nurgle team for this Nurgle team. 100%.
Yeah, I mean that's not really much of a statement.
Although, I mean it is. I've got a Strength 5 Nurgle Warrior and an Agi 4 Bestigar. Like it's not unreasonable. But his is just more well-rounded than mine is, for sure.
Yes. Then we have Goatwork Orange versus Bulls on Charade. Troxburg versus Jaspersaurus. The Chaos beating the Chorfs 2-0. Which is not what we predicted at all. We both predicted the Chorfs would win.
Oh, that's interesting. Although I feel like this is one of those ones that we thought was probably going to be close one way or the other. Goatwork Orange took 5 KOs and 2 Kaz. The Chorfs took 2 KOs and 4 Kaz, so more like permanent removals, especially if those KOs did come back. Certainly makes a difference. Although the removals are mostly on Hobgoblins. Only 1 Chorf actually went down, but it was a Claw Guard one, which definitely sort of impacts the Chorf ability to do things because of like Guard for blocks.
Yeah, they were down 4 players to Kaz.
Yeah. They had a bench, but...
Yeah, they got more KOs than the Chorfs. The Chorfs didn't really cause any... Or no, the Chaos didn't really cause any KOs. So the Chorfs KO'd a bunch of Chaos, but maybe the KO rolls were good and they came back, so they didn't really have the removal advantage.
Yeah, and like 2-0 is like a pretty common scoreline for sort of these bash matchups where they're not 1-1, right?
Nothing goes wrong.
Yeah, either nothing went wrong or something did go wrong for the Chorfs. Like if they just fail to pick up at a bad time or they double skull something, suddenly they don't score and the Chaos do, and that can easily go the other way, or could easily have been a 1-1 if there wasn't like a failure somewhere. Is a super common thing for this type of matchup. Yep.
And then we watched the Necro versus Chaos. I predicted the Necro, you predicted the Chaos, so
and then
for me there.
Gazgul and Scorpion, Floating Toads and Sleeping Souls. I think we thought this was going to be a pretty Norse favored game, if I recall correctly. But the Lizards kept up with the removals, certainly. The Norse suffered 2 KOs and 4 Kaz versus 5 KOs and 2 Kaz that the Lizards taken. One of them was on an Ulf too, which is the Strength and Guard, which can make dealing with the Saurus a lot more of a pain than it would have been otherwise, not having that.
You really need them to win this matchup as Lizards. Well, as either coach, really. So if the Lizards start hitting back and start getting those breaks and the North start going down, it can be really tough. Because then you're not really tying the team up with a bunch of block pieces that are annoying for the Lizards to deal with, and you can't really do as much like running around skink hunting. So.
Yep, we got a TD on the Agi skink who did level up, so I'm interested to see what that is. We picked up Sidestep, so just normals, and that's a pretty standard normal, I think, for an Agi skink.
Yes, I mean Sidestep is the default first pickup on the skink.
Anything exciting on the Norse? We have some perms. There's a dead dirty player lineman, but that's not the worst player to die, I guess, if you're gonna lose someone. Badly hurt on the skink is fine. One of the Kaz came from a skink, which is kind of funny. The loner skink, for that matter.
Skinks doing work sometimes,
Loner skink trying to earn his position on the team by injuring a Norse player, but looks probably didn't keep him. Okay, and then I guess let's look at the standings quickly before we.
All right, so we're both 0-0 in Div 2A, so we are now both -6 and -6. Congratulations!
Hey, nice, we're tied. So in 3A, we've got now 4 teams tied for first, only on touchdown differential. So that 5-1 is what puts Hindi in first right now, just on touchdown differential by 1. So if he had won by 4-1, it wouldn't have been as far ahead. So that five touchdowns was actually really critical. So we have Hindi, Dung, MyStays, and Negatron all tied for first with 6, and then Trucks, Birds, and Scorpion are the one game behind with a draw instead of a win. Number of people who haven't won yet: T-Man, Glissimaya, Fall, Terrandal, and Jasposaurus, but we're still very early. And Div 3s are potentially quite a bit more swingy than 1.
For sure.
And let's predict things. Lizards versus Kislev.
Hey, Kislev can be hard for Lizards because they can usually just leap in and take your ball. And there's some amount of that because you can still leap in with the blitzer and punch, but there's no tackle on the entire team, so you are going to be
leap in and take the ball.
I don't know. I'm tired and hungry.
Play ball. Blaze ball. Blaze ball is back. If anybody is interested in Blaze ball is back. Just so everyone's aware.
Thank you.
You should learn about Blaze ball because it is wonderful.
So there is a Blodge Step Skink, and there's no strip ball, no tackle for the Kislev.
There is a strength 4 Agi 4 lineman though with wrestling.
Yeah, but it's gonna leap in and it's gonna have a. Depending on how the guard is set up, it's gonna have a 1 die or a 2 die against Blodge. Sure, that's pretty good. I don't know why I'm dismissive of this. It's actually not bad.
That thing that's pretty good. It's not good.
Okay, it's a 55% on a 2 die. It's not the worst, but yeah, they do have the Agi 5 catcher for recovery too. This could be the sort of
wizard. They get a wizard too.
Oh, they also get a wizard. Yeah. There's 3 Mighty Blow though.
There is the Kislev are mostly armor 8 though. There's only the catchers are armor 7.
Yeah. They have no bench.
They do not. So a wizard is a bit of a risk.
Yeah.
Given the Mighty Blow, we're probably going to lose a couple, and then no bench. If you're willing to do that for a wizard, we basically have to get really good value out of that wizard to make it worth it. But I think with 2 Agi, the Agi 4 and the Agi 5 leaps, it's pretty likely we can get value out of a wizard. Get value
what do you
from
think?
The lizards out of a wizard if we do it early. It's hard. This is very easily either way, and I think it depends pretty strongly on who goes first, frankly. I'll take the Kislev.
Cool. I take the lizards.
Vampires and dwarves.
Well, the Troll Slayer can actually use Dauntless, so there's something.
Yeah, the Strength 4 Troll Slayer can use the 2+ Dauntless on those vampires. That's true. So this is that sort of Norse thing, or the rat thing you were sort of talking about a little bit before, where there's a lot of blocked linemen that the thralls, if they get stuck up against, are just gonna take a bunch of blocks against, and it's pretty easy for them to go down. And then the vampires can potentially not have food. And if that happens early enough, that's really hard for the vampires to deal with. But the dwarves are
15 players, so there's
yes,
a bit of it in there.
And the dwarves are very much that here's a big brick of players. Most of them have guard. Please enjoy trying to go through them. And the vampires will be like, okay, because they have strength 5 and hypnogaze. So it's really easy for the vampires to just get through the standard dwarf protect the ball formation.
You just throw more dwarves. That's it. That's how you solve that problem.
There's only so many dwarves, though.
Yes. This is a weird one, I think.
It is weird. The Mighty Blow vampire isn't going to do anything.
The dwarves have played vampires before and have won. They have a 100% win rate against vampires.
Well, have the vampires played the dwarves?
That's what I'm saying. I gotta know.
He has, and he's lost twice and won once.
I don't think it's a very easy matchup. He's developed now, though, so it's a bit of a different story. Those could have been pretty early on.
I'm gonna curse Hindi. I don't want Hindi to win again. He just won 5-1. He deserves to get dwarfed. I'm gonna take the dwarves.
You're bad at cursing. That's not how cursing works.
Curse, maybe I don't mean cursing. Maybe I mean spiting.
All right, well, then to actually curse Hindi, I will predict that Hindi will win. And now he is actually doomed.
Okay, there you go. Well, we just saw My Stays beat Elves. Can he beat Skaven?
Yes.
Really? Probably. Normal, like, I hate playing Skaven as Nurgle. Nurgle are slow.
Yeah, like, he should, I mean, he does have 2 movement busted gut runners, so Dung is in a bit of a rough position on this one, but
like, when your fastest player is movement 6 and you only have 4 of them, like, multiple movement 9 players is just like, great, like, what am I supposed to do? I literally cannot reach you. But their movement, 2 of them are movement 8, and there's only 1 movement 9. The lack of strip ball means that the ball is going to be generally really safe in that sort of guard cage, like, because we can't get
there's a Blodge sure hands player anyway, so
yeah, that's true.
So he's got what? He's got 400k ish.
But one tackle and neither of it is Mighty Blow. 2 Mighty Blow.
He's probably going to take Glart and a Wizard, I would guess, something like that. He doesn't have quite enough for that, and he doesn't have a lot of bank, so probably doesn't do that, actually.
Maybe it's just my, like, absolute terrible memories of playing in Skaven as Nurgle, but, like, I have such a hard time imagining wins as Nurgle against Skaven without just killing their whole team, and it might be hard to do with only 2 Mighty Blow.
I believe in My Stays. I've got a plan after 2 weeks of losing points to him.
All right, well, I will take the rats and regret it probably, because my brain says, like, My Stays should probably win this, but my gut.
We have contested picked every single match, and I've always taken the left team, and you have always taken the right team.
Do we have to keep following that pattern? Because we now have Chorf versus Kislev.
Well, I'm gonna take left.
So we have Chorfs. We've got the
4-claw Chorfs, yeah.
Yep, and the sure hands. The Kislev get 200k, so we have a wizard, but you're welcome, Dung. I mean, I just hate playing Skaven as Nurgle, and it's really hard. So I think a lot of the time it's Skaven can win that. So there is real confidence there. Movement 9 catcher is certainly a thing. We got that the Chorfs can't really deal with that very well. Bull Centaurs are super movement 9.
They have a movement 9 blitzer that gets a natural 2-die.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I don't know why I'm drawing this all out. I take the Chorfs. Like,
you really are, and I've got games in like 45 minutes. I still have to eat dinner, so
yeah, that's
no more draw.
I'm sort of tired at this point, but yeah, I mean, I think the Chorfs are just gonna. The Kislev have a hard time breaking through guard. There's all the Claw Mighty Blow. If we can one turn with that movement 9, sure, but like, I think it's gonna be hard, an uphill battle. Callisti Maya and Fall. Here we fall, those guys.
He's carrying 70k extra, so it's 1910 versus 1670. So the elves get like a wizard and a babe, or 2 babes, or something like that.
Right, two edgy 4 beastmen, and wrestle tackle, and tackle is certainly a thing that is not unreasonable in the matchup against the elves. A lot of guard, we can protect the ball pretty well. Ball does have the strength 4 agi 5 blitzer and the movement 8 blitzer and the movement 9 catcher, which is the real problem for the chaos there. Speed.
Yeah, coupled with a wizard.
Yeah, high agi coupled with a wizard, high speed. That's
I'm gonna take Fall.
I think that's probably a fair choice. I want to take the chaos because they're better built than most chaos teams, I think, for agi stuff, but stat elves and a wizard is just hard for a chaos team to overcome. Then we have Troxbirds and Scorpion, Floating Toads, and a Goatwork Orange. 2010 chaos versus 1680 lizards. How much is there?
Well, so it's 1680 versus 1980 actually. So you get exactly 300k, which means
300K, yeah. So Slibbly.
Probably Slibbly and a babe. You could go Slibbly Appo if you wanted to, but Slibbly Babe is probably the winning play.
Claw Mighty Blow piling on Warrior, Claw Mighty Blow piling on Beastman. Is the thing that is annoying for the lizards. Lizard Saurus.
It's Claw Mighty Blow piling on Jump Up, Niggle, Movement Bust, Agi Bust.
He's collecting one of each. Just needs strength and armor to go.
I wonder how many of those were not having block related.
Probably at least one. I think that's the big thing. Not having block is a bit annoying there. Lizards have such valuable positionals, like losing a Saurus is such a problem. Because they're so like important to have all of them there, that often that's where lizards start to not be as good when they start running into actual claw teams. The thing that I think helps that out a little bit here is the lack of block on one of those beastmen for sure. The guard and strength is there for the chaos with the warriors and the guard, but the lizards have those skinks, right? 2 movement 9, 2 agi 4. The almost natural one turner with movement 9, sprint, sure feet, sidestep. So even if the lizards lose a Saurus, they still can, they could quick score, they could like 1 or 2 turn pretty easily. I think losing a Saurus is less bad for this Saurus team in this, or this lizard team in this matchup, than it is for most normal lizard teams, if that makes sense. Because they can make up for it with the skinks doing nonsense. So I think I like lizards, especially if you take Slibbly, because it evens out the guard quite a bit.
Yeah, I think I can get behind that.
Just because of the skinks. Like if we didn't have those super skinks, I think I would take chaos all the time, but we can make up for losing a player by having those skinks. And then we have Gazgul and Negatron, the Sleeping Souls, and the Cathartic Carnivores, 1470 Norse versus 1520 Necro. I do not want to become oh my god, there are so many of you. Ban.
Man, they hit you in a wave. That's good.
Yeah, all 4 of them. Just ban. Oh my god, go away. What the fuck? Leave me alone.
I can help.
I just got like 9 messages from bot Twitch accounts that are like, please buy followers. I've never seen that many at once. I have never seen that many. I've seen like 1 or 2 at once, but that was actually just 9 straight in a row. Good lord.
Nice.
They're getting very aggressive.
Nice. Coming on strong. Thank you, Emily.
You're coming on too strong there, bots.
Yeah.
W Tigers 1830 and ZK1K2K3L1R152. Coming on too strong. So the Norse.
I predicted the lizard versus the chaos, and then we have Sleeping Souls. Necro, yeah, they do. It's a big thing to have as Norse.
They've got the Mighty Blow piling on Berserker. They've got a Mighty Blow Berserker. They've got the Yeti, a couple Guard Ulfs, the Necro. The Claw is irrelevant, but the Mighty Blow piling on certainly is not. Or the Yeti, I guess. This is not easy. I mean, they're both gonna hurt each other. The Necro are more likely to stay around, given that neither team has a bench, right?
Yeah.
6, 8, 9, 10. The Necro is slightly more likely to stay around from
Niggled zombie and a niggled flesh golem.
Yeah, but neither team has a bench. The Norse basically have block, is what they've kind of got going on against the other team. They both have a couple Mighty Blow. Norse have a bit more, but the Necro also have regen that could matter. This is really hard, right? Like we've said before, this is going to be like very momentum-y, right? Whoever has the sort of tempo is going to have a much easier time than the other team, like to a pretty extreme degree here. So this is really hard to predict ahead of time. I think I want to go Necro like on the smallest of margins, just because maybe regen works, and also the higher movement, like the werewolf and the ghouls, like maybe we can get some.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can narrowly take the Necro as well.
Yeah,
regen is a lot, but you can just kill one of the players and then you have a bench. It's easy.
You could flip a coin, and I'd probably be pleased with the outcome of the prediction there, because this is going to be really heavily dependent on whoever gets the early advantage and keeps it. That tempo is going to be massive.
Let's see, has Megatron played Norse before? He has not.
Gazgul played. Necro.
Necro.
He has in
He
one of
has.
those times.
I mean, I think Norse do pretty well against Necro, but I don't know
In
if this is
general.
the match where they do well.
No. Okay, so that's gonna be that, I guess. I'll bring up the title screen.
Sweet. I'm gonna go shove a sandwich in my face before sitting down for 3 more hours of sitting in front of this computer.
Sweet. Enjoy. Thanks everybody for hanging out. We will be back next week, probably on Wednesday again, but it'll always generally be Wednesday or Thursday at like roughly the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I moved it this week because I had a friend coming over and we were making like chicken parmesan and it was taking fucking forever. So
it's either going to be Wednesday or Thursday at basically this time that we did it today, pretty much every time, just based on our schedules, but it could move around a bit. Feel free to come back for the next week where we look at week 4 and review what just happened in week 3. We will see you next week, and until then, I'm in Steakmittens,
and I'm Shadorra.
see you later, folks.